Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here. Don't forget to subscribe. And today we're talking about a possible extinction level event, or ELE, thanks to AI. Now, what got me thinking about this was a recent article in Forbes entitled Fear of Superintelligent AI is Driving Harvard and MIT Students to Drop Out. This article is by Victoria Fang, and for the record, I also, full disclosure, published with Forbes as well. So, basically her article says that some students are essentially afraid of the potentially devastating impact that AI will have on the future of humanity if it becomes sentient and decides that people are more trouble than we're worth, right? So, Fang's article in Forbes then led me to a 2024 U.S. Department of State Commission report that said an extinction level risk is possible given how fast AI is being developed. The report says that the U.S. government must move, and I quote, quickly and decisively, end quote, to avert substantial national security risks stemming from AI, which could, in the worst case, cause a, quote, extinction level threat to the human species. The rise of advanced AI and AGI, artificial general intelligence, has the potential to destabilize global security in ways reminiscent of the introduction of nuclear weapons. Now, if you don't know what AGI is, it's essentially a hypothetical technology. It doesn't exist yet that could perform most tasks at or above the level of a human. And because these don't exist, leading AI labs are right now racing as fast as they can to essentially develop and get the first AGI out there. And it is expected within the next 5 years or so, or less, that AGI is going to come to fruition. And so think about what that means in the context of the history of this planet. When you have the smartest species on the planet competing with the second smartest species, the second smartest species doesn't do so well now, do they? Ask the Neanderthals. This is what we are talking about. We are literally developing something already with artificial intelligence that has the ability to, for lack of a better term, think and then execute on its own, making decisions for itself. AGI turns that up to 11. Now, this report back in 2024 was entitled An Action Plan to Increase the Safety and Security of Advanced AI. This report recommends a set of sweeping and unprecedented policy actions that, if enacted, could radically disrupt the AI industry, at least here in the United States. They recommend that Congress should make it illegal to train AI models using more than a certain level of computing power. The threshold, according to this report, should be set by a new federal AI agency, although the report also suggests, as an example, that the agency could set it just above the levels of computing power used to train some of the most common cutting-edge AIs that we are using right now. Think ChatGPT, Google Gemini, etc., etc. So this new AI agency should require AI companies on the quote-unquote frontier of this industry to obtain government permission to train and deploy new models above a certain lower threshold, again, according to this report. This has, I think, the impact of hindering the United States in its development. Now, I think that something like this is really good, and I'll continue in a second here, but I think it's important to understand that if one country says, yeah, we're going to slow ourselves down and put guardrails on this, other countries aren't going to do that, right? If the US slows themselves down, do you think China's going to do that? No, and China won't do that because even if they thought it was a great idea, and I would hope that the Chinese government does as well, they don't want the Americans to get there first, right? Or the Germans or the Canadians or whoever. This is what we are talking about here. In the same way that the battery is essentially, one of those major wars in the world right now. Whoever makes the longest lasting battery for things like mobile devices is going to be a economic powerhouse in the future. AI is the same thing. Now, back to this report. It also recommends that authorities should also urgently consider outlawing the publication of the weights or inner workings of powerful AI models. For example, publishing them under open source licenses, which the Chinese just did with DeepSeek, that would be a violation punishable by jail time. In other words, you don't want to give away an AGI to the world and then let, the terrorists have it too. Those kinds of things that can just go to GitHub and get the code or whatever. So, the government, according to the report, should further tighten controls on manufacture and export of AI chips. I literally just did a segment on that the other day, and channel federal funding towards quote unquote alignment research that makes advanced AI safer. I think that's a great idea. We should be putting guardrails around this. Now, in 2024, last year, when this report was published, basically more than 80% of the American public believed that AI could accidentally cause a catastrophic event, and 77% of US voters believe the government should be doing more to regulate AI. That's according to polling in 2024 by the AI Policy Institute. And quite frankly, I think those numbers might actually be higher, but yeah. I mean, we don't want essentially machine learning to turn into general intelligence, because quite frankly, if it's making decisions on its own and it doesn't have scruples, morals, or ethics in some way, shape, or form, you get potentially an extinction level event. Ask right now an artificial intelligence what's the fastest way to, let's say, combat climate change or get rid of climate change. The default answer is going to be kill all humans, because we're the polluters, right? Doesn't think about it. That's just the answer. So this is, I think, of deep concern. Now, we basically back in 2024 had some framework of regulation via an executive order from President Biden around artificial intelligence, basically the creation thereof and the safeguarding of it. But those were rescinded. We have a new administration, and President Trump undid the executive order that President Biden did, and then basically publicly announced with Larry Ellison that there's going to be a $500 billion investment into AI development. So this is full steam ahead with no real guardrails around it. And quite frankly, if you're looking at it from a competitive standpoint with adversarial nations, this is where we're heading. This is where they're heading too. But if you're looking at it from just the standpoint of can humanity survive this, I guess we'll find out. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please, please, please attempt to stay private, informed, and secure. Take care.